Hello, hello, Digital Asia Summit attendees. I'm thrilled that you're here, a part of this amazing event put together by our host over at the Digital Asia Summit. I'm thrilled and honored to be speaking to you and teaching on this amazing topic today, how to build an incredible business, a seven-figure business through content. The 2020s, it's never been a better time to do this. So without further ado, let's get right into my talk. So, first of all, a little bit about me if you're already not familiar with me. Back in 2011, I started a writing agency, Express Writers, after actually escaping a cult in the middle of the night. Yes, that's true. I've written going on 5 books now. My third book tells the story of how I escaped that cult and built a successful business. Today, almost 10 years later, actually more than 10 years, Express Writers has done over 40,000 projects. We have 100 people on staff. We've done 5 million total in sales. And that still blows my mind that we were able to do that literally out of nothing. And when a client called me one day and said, Julia, can you come teach what you know? That is why I started the Content Hacker Academy. There, I teach what I know about content that works. Okay, so you are in the right place with me today, right here, right now. If you're feeling stuck, if you're in a place in your business where things are just not going right, I've been there so many times. You're actually going to hear one of the worst stories that's ever happened to me in business and how I succeeded after that failure. So I've been there. I know what that's like. If you're unsure of how to pull in customers, you need to be here for this full hour. And if you're ready to capitalize in a really big way in this digital age, but you really have no idea where to start. So your hour is valuable, right? The next 40 minutes or so are extremely valuable to you. I know that. And I don't want you to be here if it's not the right fit for you. What do I mean by that? So nothing I will teach today is theory, a quick hack, or a temporary fix. If that's what you're here for, you might as well bounce because that is not what we are going to teach. Everything you're about to learn has been tested and it will work to produce long-term results. So get ready to take notes, have your pen and paper ready. This is going to be an in-depth class. So turn off all your distractions, really dedicate the time. You will get a ton of good out of this. And stay hydrated, have some water nearby, right? I do. Very important to stay hydrated, move around, all that good stuff. Okay, how do you build a 7-figure business? Through content, right? I've done it. I'm doing it a second time with my next business. How do you do it? Let's work backwards. I want to inspire you with what happens after successful content marketing has been built, executed, and implemented. So in 10 years, I've never missed a single week. It sounds like I don't take a vacation, right? But that's not what's going on. I've actually built a process that works tremendously well. Now, there is an investment to get these kinds of results, over 18,000 keywords in the top of Google, over 100,000 visitors per month. The cost of that is around $2,000 to $3,000 a month. And that is content, the writing, right? We hire our own writers at Express Writers. And then it's images. It's beautiful visuals and graphics designed for that blog. And I can tell you that $3,000 we spend about every month now is 100% worth it on content. So our visitor count is over 100,000 a month. And what the ad value of this would cost us would be about 200,000 a month. We would have to pay that for this amount of traffic from Google if we didn't earn it organically, which thank goodness we have. And we've never launched a single backlink campaign. Oh no. I don't answer a single pitch. I don't do backlink exchanges. I just don't play that game. Instead, we publish great content. It really is that simple, but not. I'll show you the strategy in today's talk. There's more to it than that. And just to show you that revenue is here as well, because that matters, right? We can't just have traffic. We have to have revenue. Here's a look at one of our months. This was actually March of 2021. Very current. Okay, so why is content marketing working so well? Effectively, content marketing is in and advertising is dying. And there are so many statistics that now show this. It's almost impossible to ignore, even if you've been putting a ton of money in ads. So big brands like Kraft are seeing a 4 times greater ROI on their content marketing than on their ads. And this is really crazy. Over the pandemic, March of 2020 till today, actually, Google search traffic went from 3.5 billion searches a day to over 6 billion searches. Now, that growth happened inside just 1 month, but it has stayed around till today, and then it keeps increasing. The amount of people using Google right now, Googling on their phones, right? Using Alexa to search for their answers to their questions. Well, that's never been greater. So you know what that tells you? It's never been a better time to publish content where you can be found in front of them. Success through this inbound, non-interruptive type of content is absolutely within reach. It doesn't matter your niche. It doesn't matter who you serve. It is within reach for you as long as you build a strategy. So if you're doubting yourself right now, I want to call you out and tell you to stop that. Do not think small. Even if you've only had small results, that is not how your future has to be. But this kind of success is not some woo-woo thing. You are not going to repeat a million self-help mantras, and wake up knowing what to do. You're not. No, this is all about planning, building, and executing your own success through very strategic content marketing. So how do you do that? That loaded sentence. How do you plan, build, and execute your own success through strategic content marketing? Well, this is something I've been teaching in the Content Hacker Academy. Success through content is an ecosystem. It's not just one thing. It's a combination of multiple content marketing skills. Together, those things create this effective content marketing campaign that can skyrocket your growth. It's not a one-hit shot in the dark. It's not one blog that's going to propel you to 7 figures. It is an ecosystem. So keep that in mind. And there's multiple parts to it. Can't be denied. So success in this area really comes down to 2 groups or categories. On one hand, it's your mindset. On the other hand, it's skills. So those 2 things, see here on the slide, we have the brain and then we have your hands working. Those 2 things have to go together. You have to have the right mindset, and then you have to actually have the skills. And no, I'm not talking about a degree. I'm not talking about academic skills. The content world, guys, is very different than anything we learn in college. So be prepared to not rely on any of that, unfortunately, for real life content skills. So how do you have the right mindset? A learner's mindset is key. This is something I often repeat to my staff at Express Writers whenever I'm training them. It is critical for them to know that they have to continually stay learning. So if your mindset is, I need to stay ahead of change and adapt, how do I do that? Through learning, then you're going to be ahead of the game, no matter what it is you dive into. If you take an Instagram Reels workshop and you're open to learning, right? And then you apply that to your business, watch growth happen. So go into everything, getting ready to learn how to change, getting ready to learn how to grow. You also have to do some rewiring if you haven't figured that out already. You have to do some rewiring in your brain and how you think of the tasks that surround content marketing. So what do I mean by this? Well, we'll talk about that in a second. And on top of that, you have to have strategic steps and repeatable processes that you can implement over and over for successful content marketing. So before we go into the skills, let's go back to mindset. And I want you to do some mindset work with me. Are you ready? Yes, we're actually going to do some mindset work. Okay, true or false? Your website is a task on your to-do list. I want you to mentally answer this right now. So let's say you can put here any task that you have to do in content. I have to post an Instagram post tomorrow. I have to write a blog. I have to, maybe it is revamping your website. Maybe that is a task. No, let's rethink that. Say it with me. Insert the task that you have to do. My Instagram presence, my website, my blog is my online house. This is the place I live in. This is a breathing, living place of habitation that I'm always evolving, adding to, updating, maintaining. This is something that builds my brand and revenue in epic ways. And my visitors, my customers, my prospects, well, they love it too. And you will love it as you have this mindset in your head and you picture people consuming your content, loving your content. You will begin to love your content too. It's amazing, amazing what the mind can do. And changing your mindset here, instead of tasks that I have to do, really thinking in terms of this is something that represents me. Or if it's your employer, this is something that grows my employer's brand and therefore my reputation, because you are attached to what you do. You're known for what you do, even if it's a very small sphere. Don't discount that. So the skills go hand in hand, guys. You cannot have the mindset without the skills. If you don't know how to write a blog, if you don't know how to create SEO content, take a course. Finish that course. Don't just enroll in it. Finish it. And then you'll actually have the skill. Let's try another one. Let's rewire our brains together another time. Ready? Take a deep breath with me. Your new thinking comes in as you breathe in. Your old thinking goes out as you breathe out. You should feel calmer after those deep breaths, a couple of them. So let's approach this rewiring calmly. What is your expertise? For me, it could be content strategist and marketing coach. Is that what I want to say? No, actually. We can rethink that. Remember, old thinking out, new successful mindset thinking in. You are not just some expert selling some service. You have a clear differentiation factor, or you're going to build one. That's what we're going to do together in the next few minutes. For your content to truly stand out, you need a content differentiation factor. So how do you find yours? So this is what I came up with after doing the exercise we're about to do together. And you should have a worksheet below this video, somewhere on this page, to download that. So if you don't have that worksheet downloaded, pause right now, go grab that, come back, or do it while I'm talking. Totally fine. But you're going to need that worksheet to do the next few slides with me. So this is what I came up with after working in my content differentiation factor. I am a results-based content strategist for brands invested in customer-friendly marketing. And of course, I do more than that, so I wouldn't stake it on this, but this is an example. Let's say if you were a content strategist, right? You could use that. So here's some examples of real content differentiation factors in action. Anne Hanley, this is what she says. Anne Hanley inspires marketers to create marketing magic that gets real world results. I love how she blended magic with real world results. You can't really just say magic in marketing anymore. So I love how she blended that hard, practical truth with the word magic. And then Joe Polizzi's new business, The Tilt. It is a newsletter for content entrepreneurs. Look how clearly he states who he serves and then what he does, right? So the content differentiation factor, excuse me, says everything you need to build your own personal content empire. So if you subscribe to his newsletter, you're going to have everything you need to build your own, and he's very specific, content empire. And then he even says when you get it, delivered twice a week, right? Specific. Here is one of my Content Hacker Academy students. Her differentiation factor is we exist to make online courses look good. She proofreads courses for a living. Very well said. Here's one of mine. Learn relevant, powerful content marketing strategies that build long-term brands. All right, not just talking short-term here, long-term brands. So when you think about your differentiation factor, think about these 4 things: who you serve, and you can actually complete this in your worksheet now. Who do you serve? That's the first one, right? Then what do you do better than anyone else? What is it that you do? What do you love doing? And then what mega results can you offer your clients? So take the next few minutes as we keep going here, and I want you to write out your differentiation factor. And it's the answer. You want your factor to answer this big question. What's your unique standout perspective in your niche that makes you an expert to be heard? So you want your differentiation factor to answer that. And then, of course, you start by breaking it down and answering those 4 points. And that is in the worksheet. So grab that and go through that. Remember to keep it simple and clear. Clarity over cleverness always wins, right? We have examples that we went through, very clear, specific. So whenever you work on this, I want to remind you of something very critical, that if you really want to build the 6-figure business at the end of the day through content marketing, you do need all the pieces of the puzzle there. So it was a smart content strategy, right, that I put together after I built skills and real knowledge. That's what made my 6-figure business happen. And then strategic pieces, mindset, real skills, those 2 things together. So mindset matters as well as skills. And then finally, quality and consistency. Very important. You can't have a great pie without all the right ingredients. All of them must be there. And the skills you need to build, well, they're not just a few. If you want all the content marketing, the whole campaign to work for you and result in overall growth across the audiences you serve, maybe it's your employer, serves several sectors, markets, it depends on how big your brand is and how big you want it to be. You need to build all of these skills. And I have this kind of a 6-step framework that goes through all of these skills. The first one is your fundamentals. Right? So you need to know quite a few things here. What makes you stand out as a brand? What are topics that you can share about? Then you need to know your audience. You need to be able to connect them to a sales funnel through content. You need to know, okay, my audience is comprised of, it could be mommy bloggers. It could be very specific freelancers that lack technical knowledge. How do I sell these people on my skills? You also need to answer that. I have a white paper. I have an ebook. I have a lead magnet that will teach them why they need to hire someone like me to help them grow. And then SEO, as well as nowadays social media, different platform skills are critical to draw in the right clients. Exposure, authority. Lots of exposure. That's what you need in that third one. And then authority happens from the other 3 being put into place. Once you know your audience, once you know where you stand from, your differentiation factor, once you have the skills, you can build true authority. And then you can get consistent, practical, and great. And finally, that last one there, top left, what makes it all work is a budget. So many brands miss out because they don't have a set budget in place for content. Like I said, ours is about $3,000 a month. That's over $30,000 a year over. So very important to have a clear budget in place and know how you're going to promote it. How are you going to tell your subscribers that your new content is out? So that's not a lot. I'm sorry. That's not a little is what I meant to say, right? It sounds like a lot of stuff going on there, but here's the good news. You don't have to go through years of college anymore to learn these skills. You can actually build them in a few weeks. Yes, like as little as 5 to 6 weeks is what it takes. And I just launched, so we have courses and workshops over at the Content Hacker Academy that you can check out. My courses are 4 to 6 weeks and teach you exactly how to do this step by step with access to me, a mentorship with me. And then we just launched 1-hour workshops over at the Content Hacker Academy. I'll tell you more about these at the end, that are 1 hour. You can literally build these skills in that amount of time. So that's the good news. It doesn't take long. You just have to buckle down, find a mentor, and learn the skill. So if you're feeling like that DIY path is more for you, you're like, Julia, I got this. I'm going to go figure it out. Well, I was there once. And this is that story that I want to tell you. So back in 2016, this was 5 years after I started. I started in 2011. I got serious about earning my way to the top. So I was just throwing things together. It was getting the blog out the night before. We didn't proofread it. Yes, miserable. Oops. So the reason I buckled down and decided I had to do something about my content strategy and change everything, literally I had to change everything, was because I was failing. My business was making pennies It was quite terrible. So if we go back to that year, I had a 2-year-old. My little girl was only 2 and she was so busy. It was crazy times. I was overworked. I wasn't earning enough leads for all the content I was doing. I was trying to push on a blog every day. I was doing outreach. I was trying to grow on every channel. I was pitching. Yes, times were nuts. You can picture it. But I had this dream, right? To earn much, much more. And maybe those of you listening can relate to this. So here's the timeline of what literally happened. Not only, did we not gain momentum on our content, but if you look at May 2016, we had 2 managers that were embezzling. They stole up to $80,000. So what's crazy is I had nowhere to go but up, right? You literally have the worst thing happen to you. You hit rock bottom. You have nowhere to go but up. That's the beautiful thing. And you can either be a survivor, take that, the bull by the horns, life is mine, rebuild, create something amazing, or you can just sit back, accept defeat. I don't know about you, but I do not accept defeat. So when that happens, we had nowhere to go but up. That's when I'm like, not only am I going to hire a great team, I'm going to put a content strategy in place. I'm going to know my goals. I'm going to create content that works. That's it. So if you look at the beginning of that timeline, we were taking home 30% of a $60,000 month. Pretty terrible. So our net profit was like less than 30 grand. And that was, that net profit we put right back into our business. So we were like making nothing. Then after we put our content strategy in place, we had our first $70,000 month the next January. And we had almost double the amount of keywords indexed in Google. So this works, guys. A content strategy works. And then if you fast forward all the years, 2017 to today, we have over 18,000 keywords indexed in Google. We're actually publishing less content, not more, 1 blog a week, because we hit that 1,000 blog mark, right? You do have to have volume. If you're a brand new brand and you don't have much velocity, publish 3 blogs a week. Hit that mark of having a couple hundred published, and everything will start. It's an ecosystem. Everything will snowball and start to grow. You have to be consistent, guys. If this sounds like a lot of work, it is. But do you want the 7-figure business? Do you? Then you will commit. Then this will happen. So that is what happened after I got serious and I said, no more content that doesn't work. Learn a content strategy by trial and error. Now, the facts are, I don't make millions sitting by the beach. Nope. What I do still requires an effort. Nothing is passive. And I'm really at my desk more often than the beach. I'm not trying to paint this picture of someone sitting back and enjoying profits without work. That's not what happens when you have a 7-figure business through content. There's still effort. But if you have a content strategy in place, you're guaranteeing yourself success. And if you have that consistency, that plan in place, right? You can step away more frequently. That's the magic. You don't want to burn out, right? And I don't today. I don't burn out. So the magic about creating a business through content, it's not just the advertising is dying. It's not just you can hit an enormous amount of sales and revenue. It's not just you can have massive growth. But look at this. You don't have to go hunt down clients. They come to you. And that is truly the magic of content marketing. Here's a look at one of our leads. They filled out this form. They had a call. This was an actual doctor, a physician looking for a website content writer. How did you find us? Google, of course. And they got on the phone, had a call with us, and they purchased in the next week. So all of this started with a clear content strategy. And that's where I want to wrap up with you guys, that you have to get clear. You have to know what you're doing. You have to have the skills. So if we have the time, I want to go into, before we wrap up, let's go into the 3 major mistakes to avoid. These are very common. So I want to end with you on this note. These are very common, so they're very easy to avoid if you know what they are. The first mistake I see that most new content marketers make is a lack of focus. Jumping around too many things at once. Let that go. In fact, doing it all can kill your conversions. Number 2, not focusing on quality. Quality is critical, my friends. Cutting corners, skimping, trying to hire the cheapest writer, all of that can actually kill you, not build your brand. So the quality of what you're doing in your content, it makes or breaks your content marketing success. You must have quality. We throw dollars at our content and we barely blink our eyes. We know what it costs. We invest in that because we know the dividends will be huge. We know the return will be great. And then finally, one of the biggest ones is you're just doing stuff without any true knowledge of what you're doing. You have to build the skill. And again, that skill doesn't come from college. It doesn't come from an outdated textbook. It comes from a course, a practitioner, reading a book on this topic, again, by a practitioner. So you have to learn from a practitioner. You can go the trial and error route. You're more than welcome to. But as you saw, that cost me a ton of time and money. I do not recommend it. And the other side of this is it can get very costly if you don't know how to do content marketing correctly, plus patience, right? So patience is key once you learn the right skills, and there's no overnight hacks. So whenever I got my content strategy in place, we went from $30,000 months to $100,000 months with double net profit. So what's crazy is that, this happened as a direct result of a clear content strategy. And I want to reassure you guys, this can happen for you too. So 2 choices as you end this talk. Remember, you can absolutely do the DIY route. You can Google this, you can stumble and learn and pick yourself back up and succeed, or you can save yourself a lot of time, and get a course for a couple $100, for $1,000, and fast track what you're doing. And like we showed you earlier, like we talked about earlier, a well-built content strategy can equal millions in sales. It really can. So if you want a low entry point, go for my books. These are the 3 I would recommend. I have more. You can search for these titles on Amazon. So You Think You Can Write is my first book. It just got updated. So fresh content in there. That is a beginner's guide to online writing. So if that's what you need, grab that. The second book, Practical Content Strategy and Marketing, goes with my course at contentstrategycourse.com. Excuse me. So that book is 380 pages and it's a complete guide to doing what I talked about. And it goes hand in hand with that video course at contentstrategycourse.com. So if you need that intensive training, I wrote this book after I built my content strategy and I realized there was no good path. I researched all of them. I invested in training myself. There was no clear path to building a very practical content strategy that equaled profits. So I wrote it naturally. And then I created a course and we actually brought in 11 guest experts. So it wasn't just me. And then finally, skip the degree, save the tuition. Like I was saying earlier, you will not learn these skills in college. Most of the time, digital marketing curriculum is so outdated, it's not even funny. So if you want to learn how to build a digital skill from the ground up, that is maybe content marketing or sales or freelancing or entrepreneurial, go for that book. And those are, something like $16 to $20 on Amazon. Then if you need more, I teach courses and workshops in the Content Hacker Academy. So I teach the Content Strategy and Marketing course, which is a complete 6-week program that teaches you every single step in building a content strategy that works. It's 70 short little bite-sized videos. It's me helping you. It's me reviewing your brand strategy. Yes, you're building a brand strategy in the course. And then we have the Expert SEO Content Writer. That's a 1-week course where you learn SEO writing. And then unlearn essay writing. I was just talking to a student of that course today. He had spent 20 years in the academic field, and he's like, my eyes are open now to what the online content world is like. So if you're stuck in that essay writing mode, go for that course. And then we have 9 powerful 1-hour workshops, very short, simple classes that teach you content marketing skills. So just a little bit more about the content strategy and marketing course. You can see the price there. It's a 45-day course. You can get in as low as $99 a month, or you can pay full upfront price. the expert SEO content writer. You can see the price there. We have dedicated websites for all my courses. You know, I've put thousands of dollars into producing these. I really believe in them. And we have hundreds of students to prove that these work. So I won't spend too much more time on this. You know, we can go through all of this in depth, but I encourage you to check out the programs that you're interested in, whether it's the courses, the workshops. We have 9 workshops. I brought in 2 different expert guest teachers. Our dedicated workshop domain is contentmarketingcoaching.com. So you can see all 9 workshops there. Yes, we have quite a few that are very in-depth. So you can learn the technical side of SEO from a guest expert. You can learn how to build a website. You can learn how to set up a content marketing campaign for an e-commerce brand. And all of these skills, you can set up your own agency, your own freelance business, research hot topics, learn how to write a press release, learn how to write online content, or even learn social media. So that is where I will end with you guys. If you guys have any questions, you can tweet me. You can follow me on Instagram at Femme Entrepreneur, and of course YouTube at Julia McCoy. And I want to thank you so much for spending your time with me. I hope you learned some good things from this workshop, this masterclass. I appreciate you being here, and I'll see you around.